The Snail and the Whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big gray blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock, and gazed at the sea and the ship in the dark. And as she gazed, she knew and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and say to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I got it! I hit a lead!" This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looked and curved and said, "Lead floating around the world." This is the whale who came one night, when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely so long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering eyes and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starling sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." This is a sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arch and crash, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where striped fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam around the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm with zigzag lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves, and the caves, and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by the awe. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. "Quick, on the sand, back to sea!" cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it!" she cried, and started to grow. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board, a black suit. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. "A snail, a snail!" The teacher turned pale. "Look," said the children, "it's leaving a trail." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, "Save the whale." These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman digging a pool, supporting and praying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting hooray, as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Back to the duck and the frog on the rock, who say, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering eyes and coral caves, and shooting stars and enormous waves, and oh how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail and uncurled snail after snail after snail. And they sank to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the great blue humpback whale. The end.